Hi, I'm Anita Potter from Anita Potter Productions, and I'm here to tell you you can make music. I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey and what I've gone through to get to the point I'm at now. My musical journey started after the dissolution of a 17-year relationship. Don't awe me, don't pity me, don't feel sad. I'm not. I was upset for all of 2 weeks. 2 weeks, that was it. And I was on a message board and somebody was talking about how they're making their own music, and I'm like, "Oh man, I wish I could do that." And they're like, "Well, why can't you?" I don't know. I don't know the first thing about doing any of this because I've played instruments before. I've always had since the age of 19, I've had bass guitars. I had a small Casio keyboard when I was a kid back in 1985, but I never really learned how to play it. And I played clarinet in not in high school, through 3 years of school, uh, sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. And I'm like, I don't know anything about recording. I don't even know what I need. It's like, because I'd always thought that the only way you could record your music is go to a studio and do it. And I'm like, well, I don't have a band. How am I supposed to do this? I didn't know. I was like off in confusion land. So I set out. My first goal was to get the instruments I would need to make my own music. And the first thing I bought from a thrift store, mind you, was this Yamaha keyboard. This thing. It's just a regular keyboard. It's not got any dynamics whatsoever. So it does have 5-pin MIDI outs on that, but at the time when I bought it, I had no clue what MIDI was. I didn't know anything. All I know is like, okay, cool, I've got a keyboard now I can play. That thing has no dynamics whatsoever. You press the key, you get the same sound every time. So no matter soft or hard, it's the same tone. And that's when I started. I was like, okay, cool, I've got this. And I had it for like about a month. And I'm like, I really should learn how to play this. So I found a website that was all about piano, a whole bunch of forums or whatnot. And that led me to the imslp.org site. And I'll leave a link to that in the description below, where I could get sheet music from classical composers. I have a whole bunch of those, and so I started. It's like, okay, let me try to do this. It was, I'm still on a journey, but that's beside the point. You get an interest, and then you start searching for it. You look for people who can help you figure this out. After I got that, it took me a while being on my own for the first time in 17 years to get myself together, get all my bills caught up because I got left with a bunch of them. And as soon as that got finished, I felt okay enough to be able to start on me and what I wanted to do. Now, I started off just wanting to be a musician. I had no thoughts or desires of being an engineer because I didn't think I could learn that. I had no clue. I didn't know what all was involved with that. And it took a couple of years before I started even as like, maybe I should learn how to do this. After I got the keyboard, I saved up after I got all my bills caught up, saved up, bought myself a short scale bass guitar because the Dean Edge 09 that I had is a full size, heavy as hell, and I have these stumpy fingers. And I was like, it's too heavy. I can't deal with it. It's too big. I can't move fast enough. So I bought the short scale. Then another year passed. I bought my short scale electric guitar. And then saved up and was able to get the piano and a drum set, which I can't have set up because this place is too small. That's fine. I can still learn how to play it, but not the whole kit all at once, because that would be silly. It takes up so much room. I finally got all the instruments I needed. It's okay, great. I also had another problem. I'm trying to think. I think I got out of step. Yeah, before the piano and the drums that I got, I had to save up and get these done. Yep. I had to have everything pulled because 6 months after I had my first child, everything just started falling apart. So that was a priority. It took 16 years for me to be able to save up enough to get them handled. And I was like, okay, great. That's done. Finished that in July 3 years ago. 2007. It was either 2016 or 17. Then I got all of it done. And I was like so happy. And then, okay, great. Now that's handled. My health is, I have to have my health. And this was killing me. It was giving me bad migraines. I didn't want to be around people because it was just so bad. And I saved up enough to purchase the Tascam Portastudio. Now, I did not research interfaces very well because I didn't know what I was looking for. I was like, okay, great, because I didn't even check the specs. That's how, like, I wasn't even looking. But I know better now not to do that. So I bought it. My computer at the time has an SD card reader, and it's just still sitting over there. And I was like, okay, great. I can do some recording and figure all this stuff out. I got so frustrated. I bought that in December of 2017. I was getting frustrated. Why does this sound like this? What is this? What is going on? I was just freaking out, hitting my microphone here, freaking out, not knowing. I was like, I can't really do this then. So I kept at it. And I was like, okay, this is what I needed to do. And I had Reaper at the time. I was like, why the hell does this not sound good? Because, well, I hadn't done anything really to the tracks. I looked at the EQ, played with it. I didn't know what it was supposed to do at the time. I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. Then the new year rolled around, 2018. So I started going. I was like, oh, shit, I should really learn how to do this. So I started looking online, ran across a couple of channels, and landed at the Produce Like a Pro channel. So I was like, okay, let me see what this guy has to say. Because all the other ones I was watching were just, I, I don't want to talk bad, but they were just like talking at me, just like in your face practically. Not Glenn Fricker. Glenn Fricker used to scare me. He doesn't anymore. Sorry, Glenn. But anyway, because it's like and then I would see these other videos, and then I would ask questions. I got no answers. Nobody answered, except for once or twice. Another viewer would answer my question, and I would say thank you, and I would thank them for helping me understand it. It's like, okay, great. Then I ran across the Produce Like a Pro channel. I'm all like, I don't remember what video I watched first. I think it was like how to record bass or something like that. And I was like, okay, cool. He's not talking at me, thankfully. Then started, it's like, okay, let me see what else is here. So after a while, and before I knew it, a couple hours had passed, and I was like, you know what? Let me ask questions. So I would ask questions. Not only did a whole bunch of people answer them, Warren answered them as well. And I'm like, wait, what? People who run channels actually answer questions? I was like, because I had already gone through for like a month or so not getting anywhere. And it was just like completely frustrating. It's like, okay, great. He's answering questions. And I'm like sitting there, like I asked, I don't know how many questions, but there were so many questions because I had no clue what I was doing, and I wanted to know what to do. Not coming from like a engineering background or any of that. I was just like a musician trying to figure out, okay, how could I do this? Because I'm still on my own, paying all my bills, working my full time job, and taking care of my kids, and make sure that they have what they need, and then I have what I need, and then everything else after that is extra. I do what I can when I can. Not when I want to, because that would be great, wouldn't it? But this is probably rambling on a lot, but finding that and then getting inside, because the more questions I asked on those videos, the more answers I was getting because I really wanted to understand. And I'm like, and I would go, it's like, there was one I remember about side chaining, ducking, kick and base. And I'm like, oh, I really want to understand this, but I don't get it. And then it's like, okay, that's fine. It's okay. We'll get you through it. And then it's like a couple of days later, I was like messing around in Reaper and I was like, oh my God, now I understand. So I was like, I went back and I was like, I finally got it. I finally understand it. Yay, go me. And it was like, oh my God, I can do this. Like, all right. And then I wound up in the Produce Like a Pro Academy. And if I thought that the people in the comment sections on the regular channel were like super helpful, I was like in for it when I got in there because it was just like, holy crap. All these people want to help you succeed, want to help you learn. And it's all like, I kind of fell into it. I didn't know what to expect when I got in there. And I sure as heck didn't expect all of all of everything that happened. And well, it just blows my mind because the first mix I'd ever done, because I was trying to focus on, okay, let me learn how to do this and then and work on my recording and get that figured out, watching videos, asking lots of questions, lots and lots and lots of questions. So many questions. I asked so many questions. I was all like, y'all sick of me yet? Anyway, um, and okay, it's like, okay, this is how it goes. This is what you need to do. And it was just like a whole list. And I was like, oh my God, it's a little overwhelming. But they don't mean to be overwhelming. They want you to learn. And it's like you take it step by step by step by step. Work on this, get this going, and there you go. And then come back with another mix. Okay. So I did that for a little bit and then did my first feedback Friday. And that went all right. I had a lot to learn. I still needed a lot to learn. There's still some things I still need to learn. And it's like, I don't think I'll never be done learning. Nobody is. If you're done learning, then you missing the point. You're missing the plot. There's always things to learn. It's like I need to learn more about compression. When to apply it, when to not use it, all of that stuff. I've got to learn to make my mixes sound wider and all of that. And I'm constantly growing. We all are constantly growing, no matter where you're at in your journey. If you're learning guitar for the first time, like I've been trying to practice for a while now, and I know I have issues with it because some of my fingers don't want to do stuff. Even with the 3/4 scale acoustic that I have, my fingers don't want to deal. But does that stop me from trying to learn? No. It's a little annoying, but you have to keep practicing. And it's been about a month or so since I've practiced, so I need to get back to that eventually. But yeah, getting back to the point of not letting anyone tell you you can't do this, don't listen to them. If you have a drive and a determination, you will find a way to achieve that goal. Now, you'll run across people who go, oh, you don't have this or this or this, or you really need this, 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 and this, and 5 gazillion plugins just to just call yourself an engineer. No, I work mainly with stock plugins. Yep, mainly stock plugins. The only ones that I have that aren't stock are my the virtual instruments that I have. A lot of those that I grab are free. I have a weakness for synths, a bad weakness for synths. I love synths. If I could get another keyboard that's just like a giant synth, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I don't need that right now. That's not on my to get list at this point. You don't, and it's like I live in an apartment. I can't have monitors. I don't even have space for monitors on my desk. Not with the two screens right there and all the junk that you can't see that's sitting on my desk. So I mix on headphones. Specifically, these Audio Technica, and I don't want to get the name wrong, ATH M20X. I've been using these for almost 3 years. And yes, you can mix on headphones. Don't let anybody tell you anything different, because I do it all the time. Yeah, this microphone isn't like the other 4 microphones that I have. This was what I started out with on the piano videos. I didn't have an interface. I didn't have a microphone with an XLR cable at the time. And I started those 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago on YouTube. I worked with what I had, what I could get my hands on. This I found at a thrift store for $4. I was like, woohoo, got one. I have a microphone. Yay, this is before I had any of the other ones. And if I can find it again, this is the web camera I used. Dinky tiny, not even really standard definition. I think I looked at my my first video and checked the quality on YouTube, and it said 240. That's all this was, but it has lights and a little dial you can like turn the lights up and down on or off. That I perched on top of this filthy monitor right now because it's just been sitting there doing nothing because I'm not using it. This is what I used on my first mixes. Tiny, 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 tiny little screen. Did that stop me? Nope. You don't have to have all the best stuff all at the beginning. And don't let anybody tell you anything different. And I can't remember if I went over this or not, but what I used, and I'll have to review the video later. I used a program called LMMS. LMMS. Yes, and I'll leave a link in the description below for that. I used that program. It's not, people call it a DAW. It might be, but I don't see it as one because you can't really record instruments into it. You can take MIDI and record it into there. You can hand draw the MIDI in, which is what I had done at the time because I didn't have a way to have MIDI at the time. And even then, I still didn't really fully understand what the hell MIDI was. But I do now, thankfully. And I use that a lot, especially on piano and synths and like other like orchestral instruments and stuff. But that's beside the point. I used it and found some free sound fonts to use to add in a bass guitar, add in an electric guitar, add in an entire drum set. I used that to make my demos, my early, like, holy crap, early demos. That's what I did. Yeah, it was a process and it took a while, but I did it. Did anybody tell me that I can't do that? No, and if they did, I wouldn't listen to them anyway. So don't listen to people that try to talk down to you and tell you you can't do anything. You can't do this. You can't be an engineer. You can't be a producer. You can't be a musician because you don't have this, 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 and this, and this. You get what you can get, what you can afford. Everything is upgradable at a later date. Now, that keyboard, I'll still use it. I need to test out the MIDI on this because I have never used it for MIDI. And I have the 5-pin connectors and my other interface over here, which is a PreSonus Audio Box USB 2-input interface, has the 5-pin connectors in the back. Eventually, I will find time to test it out because I've never used it like that. Casio is the main one that I play, and this also does MIDI. Behind me is another thrift store acquisition. It's an M Oxygen 49 MIDI controller with pitch bend, modulation wheels, all that good stuff. I spent 20 bucks on that. So you don't need to have like a crap ton of expensive gear to do this stuff at all. There are ways, even if you have a less than stellar computer, just trust me, my last computer was bad. Did it stop me? Sometimes, because Reaper would freak out and then the whole screen would blink and flash, and then I'd have to wait for the song to end in order to fix the problem. Freeze rendering, bouncing out virtual instruments, moving the MIDI tracks to a different file with the plugin on it, saving that as a separate file, and just keeping your WAV files will lessen your CPU issues and will play. And you can do more stuff. It's like the more plugins you use, the more computer power it takes. And then you'll find yourself freeze rendering tracks. When you're happy with the sound, commit to it and be done with it. You can still do this, even with limitations. You know, that computer I bought for like 250 bucks sitting over there a while ago because the computer I had was working fine when I got home from work in the morning, was online, turned it off, went to bed, got up, turned it on. I couldn't click on anything. Nothing was working on it. So I was like, oh my friggin' God. So I had to wait like 2 weeks before I could get that one that's sitting way over there. And I used it for a really long time. And then I got this one refurbished. And it's like night and day. It's like, holy crap, where has this been all my life? Could I get it before? No, not until I could. Everything is upgradable. Now, that older computer that's sitting over there, there was no way to change the processor out. So I was just like, I was going to have to eventually get another computer. So I did. And it's right there. Thanks to a whole bunch of people. And you know who you are. But yeah, you can, it's all upgradable. You don't need like a big console if you don't have space or can't afford one. I don't have space. I can't afford one. This place is small. I'm stuck in an apartment. I only have so much space I can do this with. This piano takes up an incredible amount of space. I can't have my drum set out because it takes up all the space. Can I bring the snare out and maybe do some snare stuff? Absolutely. Can I just like take the kick and do some kick stuff? Yeah. There are ways around everything that you can do. You don't need somebody to tell you no. And if they keep constantly telling you no, you don't really need them in your life. And it's like, because people like to put other people down just to make themselves feel better. Oh, you can't do that. Only I can do that. I'm awesome and you suck. No, that's not how this works. You only suck if you think you suck. All right. Because I thought I sucked. I wanted to quit. Several friggin' times I wanted to quit. There was one particular Feedback Friday inside of the academy. I was like, might have been it was over 2 years ago, or what might have been just a year ago. And I'm like sitting there going, holy crap, all these mixes are awesome. I'm just gonna pitch my DAW out the window. Because it was just like, how the hell am I gonna get to that level? I'm still struggling with EQ. And it's like you sit there and it's like self-deprecating and you talk to other people and then you calm down. And then it's like, all right, let me just step back for a little bit and regather myself. Take breaks. You don't learn this stuff overnight. No matter how much you think you want to, that's not how it works. Basically, it just all boils down to drive and determination. You want to learn, you're going to find a way to learn. You want to be a producer, you're going to find a way to be a producer. You're not going to listen to all those people who are negative and stuff and telling you, "Oh, how are you going to do that? You got like just a cell phone in your bedroom. You got a cell phone in your bedroom. Great. You can make music. There are apps. You can make music on your phone. There's a million possibilities. You can be an engineer. You can be a producer. You can eventually work your way up to having your own studio. I would like that, but that's way off in the distance right now. Right now, I'm just a remote mixer, a remote mix engineer. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that either. But it just comes down to it. Don't let anybody give you any crap. You want to you want to be what you want to be. You're going to be what you want to be because of you. You will seek out people who can help you achieve your goal, which I did. And I'm every day I'm inside of the Produce Like a Pro Academy. I can't imagine what I would be doing right now, or how far I would be at if I didn't have that group of awesome people and helping everyone out, learning, providing critiques, getting critiques, working on each other's tracks, providing instruments and recordings and help. And it's like, it's just insane because I've been a part of other groups before. Getting back to that piano place I was on, there were just so many experts telling me I'm doing it wrong. I told them they were full of bleep, and you don't tell me how I should be practicing the piano. I know what I need to do on that. And don't tell me I'm wasting my time because I don't want to be working on like 10 classical pieces all at once, just doing little blocks of bars here and there. That's not how my brain works. I want to work on a piece, get it to where I can play it and record it. And then that's it. I'm not looking to be a concert pianist. I didn't take lessons. I'm self taught. Do I have bad habits with it? Probably. Does that stop me from making music? No. Might stop me if I hurt myself, and then that's like, okay, because I do have carpal tunnel that likes to rear its ugly head once in a while. Once I start getting that, holy crap, my hand's gonna cramp up feeling, I stop and I take a couple of days off. Is it annoying that I have to take a few days off? Yeah. Is it a good idea to take those days off? Absolutely, because I don't need to get any more permanent damage than what I already have. But if you can find yourself a group of people that won't tell you what you want to hear, but tell you what you need to hear, then you've found them. You don't want somebody to sit there and go, "Oh, you're awesome" all the time, even when you don't feel like you are. Because you don't want all the negative people in your life, but you also don't want people who are blowing smoke up your butt either, because that's not going to help you. Um, I know I had a lot of issues learning how to do this at the beginning. It's like, oh, I'm never going to get it. But not once was I ever told give up or quit or that you can't. No. I They tell me what I need to know, and I will sit there and it's like, okay, let me see how I can get this to be better. And then I do that. I do the work. This isn't There's no quick fix. Everybody learns at their own pace. It's all the things that need to be said. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. Don't let anyone discourage you from doing what you want. And that it's not even just with music, that's with anything in general. You want to be you want to teach uh liberal arts, go do it. Don't let anybody tell you, "Oh, you really shouldn't do that. You should be doing this instead." No, if that's your passion, you go do it. You find a way to do it and make it happen. And I will stop now because otherwise I'll be talking for 3 hours and that's a lot of video editing. Let me know your journey down in the comment section below. And if you have any questions or comments, also leave them down in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Um just bottom line, don't let anybody tell you you can't. Or maybe you should have people tell you you can't. That way you can prove them wrong and show them that you absolutely can. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.